Hey everybody, it's Steve with Real Progressives, and I wanted to address this buzzword, taxes don't fund federal spending. You know, we talk about it a lot, and I've said it in speeches out there at Occupy Inauguration, and when I see politicians and I see other groups talking about, what are our tax dollars going to fund and things like that, my hackles go up and I feel like I need to say something about it. But it's very important because it's like the essence of our entire struggle, and it has always been the essence of our entire struggle, is the all-important question of how are you going to pay for it? How are you going to pay for a progressive agenda? How are you going to pay for a Green New Deal? How are you going to pay for Bernie Sanders' plans? How are you going to pay for any of this stuff? Now, my good friends at the Green Party will oftentimes tell you that, hey, what do we want our taxes to fund? Hey, where do you want our tax dollars to go? And our friends in the Democratic Party will constantly talk about having to raise our taxes in order for us to fund things. And what happens is the Republican Party reflexively, through Grover Norquist's pledge, tell us, hey, we're not going to raise taxes, period. So every one of these GOP individuals has signed a pledge saying they will not raise taxes. So that means no matter how good your idea is, they are not going to pay for it with taxation. Well, we got good news for them. We got great news for them. Federal taxes don't fucking fund spending, friends. Okay? So you end up fighting with the GOP. You end up fighting with these dipshits that troll around the Rothschild world. You end up fighting with this group over there. And the reality is, our federal government has its own resources. It creates its own dollar to fund the things it wants to fund. Well, what happened? Uncle Milty back in the 70s during the OPEC, coup d'etat that they tried to do on the world. OPEC drove things through the roof. So what did we have? We had outlandish inflation, spikes all over the place. So they tried to shift the way that we look at spending money into the economy. And that way we did it, they tried to change everything through monetary policy, through the Federal Reserve. Well, monetary policy fixes our problems like pushing a string up a hill. It requires fiscal policy. Well, why did they stop doing that? Because Uncle Milty, Milton Friedman, decided in his infinite wisdom that to solve this hyperinflation problem, we got to adjust interest rates so that we can get people in debt when the economy sucks to cover their bills. And during the other cycles, we'll pay off our debt when everything's singing really good. Well, the thing is, federal taxes don't fund spending. In 1946, Fed Chair Chief at the St. Louis Reserve, Beardsley Rummel, said that taxes for revenue are obsolete. They don't exist. It's not the way it fucking works. But yet even good people that we love and know, some of the people on my own team have run around talking about, man, he isn't paying tax and we need to fund things through taxation and stuff like that. And it's just fucking wrong, damn it. It's wrong. It's not true. So, all of a sudden now, let's say Jill Stein won the presidency out of nowhere. Let's just say hypothetically Jill Stein won the presidency. Now Jill Stein comes up with the Green New Deal. Not 1 ounce of the Green New Deal would have ever come true because she would have had to have fought with a Congress that is completely and utterly against social spending because they believe, or they lie to us and believe, that your taxes are paying for this. They don't want their taxes to pay for your abortions. They don't want your taxes to pay for friggin' climate change that they don't believe in. They don't want your taxes to fund anything they disagree with. That radical gay agenda. And all the other stuff, folks. Taxes not funding spending is the linchpin to unlocking the floodgates toward progress. But yet even our most diligent friends, even in the Green Party and in the far left Progressive Party, even they continue to perpetuate the lie after lie after lie. And they're probably doing it ignorantly, not mean-spiritedly. They're doing it because they don't know. But I'm here to tell you their plans can happen today if they get past this idea that we've got to fund our activity through spending, through taxation. So am I hyped? Am I amped? Am I jacked up? Yes. Why is that? Because I want their plan more than they do. I want their plans to come true more than they do. I don't want to just be a protest movement, folks. I want to change the damn world. And the only way to do that is to build alliances. When you tell people, hey, you love your kids too, we can give them free college. We can eradicate their student debt by a stroke of the pen from Congress. Because Congress is the one that holds spending, not the Federal Reserve. So when you get angry at the Federal Reserve, why are you getting angry at them? Because they raised or lowered interest rates to defend a Fed funds rate target for the banks to get you in debt? That's the problem, folks. Ignorance of freaking economics is going to kill our movement. We're not just talking about econ junkies. We're not just talking about nerds. We're not just talking about people that like to talk about federal taxes and shit. We're talking about real people that want to change the world, stop the friggin' environment from going to hell in a handbasket. That want to see people. Think about this. In African American communities in these really, really bad cities that have been let go and run down to a nub, where all the business is left and all that's left are the poor people that are trapped in those cities, stuck dealing with slumlords, stuck dealing with garbage. Imagine the same people suddenly being able to have a federal job guarantee with benefits, with freaking a good living wage, and being able to go wherever they want to go, not stuck in the garbage of that inner city. Imagine them the ability to flee instead of it just being the wealthy that can flee. And then all of a sudden people have to up their game, don't they? They got to provide a living wage. They got to provide good housing. They got to provide quality food. They got to do everything that we want them to do because we have the power again. We have the power. And people still look victory in the face and say, I prefer defeat. Let's talk about federal taxes, funding, spending. Let's go ahead and talk about taxes, funding, spending, because damn it, we got to soak the rich, because damn it, that's what we're about. But when I say federal taxes don't fund spending, what does that mean to the poor person? If you think for a minute that the poor benefit from you taxing the rich, don't get wrong, tax them for a different reason. But if you think you're helping a poor person by taxing the rich, you've been hitting the wrong crack pipe. You're hitting an ass crack pipe. You get big old fame, okay? What you need to be focused on is you need to spend. You need to spend. You need to spend now. You need to spend now. And the way to do that is worry about spending being a separate function and taxing being a separate function. Taxes drive currency. Spending drives our life. Without it, the economy dies. So when you see Jill, or you see Bernie, or you see anybody saying this stuff, don't just go along to get along. Fucking call it out. It's the only way you're going to make it so uncomfortable for them that they have to dig in and figure it out and change. They have to change. Even our allies have to change. None of their ideas are coming true if they don't change. We can love them through this change. We have got to love them through this change. They need to know we're an ally. But we're not going to play their American Money Institute bullshit of positive money and full reserves. We're not going to play their bullshit game of having to change the Fed before we can save lives. We're not going to play their bullshit game of having to figure out where the revenue's going to come from. The revenue comes from Congress writing a law into existence, passing those instructions to the Fed, which makes deposits, which allows the Treasury to spend it out. That's how we do it. We don't sit there and fight about this stuff. Folks, it's time for us to wake up. Your fist in the air only matters if it understands why it's in the air. And you hear that sound in the background? Yeah, that's Damage Incorporated. Listen. to be doing right there. You know what I'm saying? We need to rock the whole federal taxes don't fund spending. Yes! Woo! Out of here, guys.